Time for winners and losers presented by Discover. Starting with a winner, the mighty Samson. Yes, Sam Reinhart breaks his 5-game goal drought with this snipe for the Panthers' third goal of the game. Tied for his longest playoff goal drought in a single playoff. Had a beautiful behind-the-back pass to Aaron Ekblad for his goal, so he had 2 points in this game. Top-notch game for Sam Reinhart. His first 2 points of the Stanley Cup final. But yes, the mighty Samson is back, Greg Wyshynski.
You know what? He was injured in the Carolina series. He's still obviously working back from that injury, but he had a really strong game tonight. He kind of started trending in the right direction in game 2. He had 6 shots on goal then. He had 4 tonight, had that amazing pass to Ekblad on the power play. Again, like the story of the first 2 games of the series were the play of Listerine, Lundell, and Marchand, and the play of Bennett, Tkachuk, and Rodriguez. And now if we're getting Verhaeghe, Barkov, and Reinhart going, oh boy, the hole gets a little bit deeper for the Oilers. Loser for me, bench antics. Not only the Wallman thing, which we'll get to in a second, but AJ Greer stole his glove. Greer's playing in his first Stanley Cup final game. He's excited, steals the glove, puts it in the bench. And then Wallman responds by squirting his water bottle at the Panthers bench. It was funny. I saw our former colleague Brian Boucher, who was between the benches. You could see him slamming on the glass, being like, "Don't do that!" And Boucher told me that he kind of like forced a habit there and trying to be a traffic cop between the benches. But again, man, this is just all silly stuff. Wallman said after the game, and it was pretty funny. He said that he momentarily forgot how many cameras there are at the rink to catch the act. But boy, was that silly.
I love your Kurt Angle reference there with the milk, the Steve Austin beer, the Kurt Angle milk. But also, Brian Boucher has a point. Because when you are in that position, there's also a lot of technology around you. There's monitors that the people aren't seeing on camera. So clearly, he doesn't want water around all of the plugged-in apparatuses that are around him. So I don't blame him whatsoever.
And again, I don't. It's an in-the-moment emotional thing. It's stupid. But I mean, like, again, sometimes we get blamed in the media for looking for narratives or looking for symbolism or whatever, but is there any other better symbolism of this game than Jake Wallman squirting his water bottle at the Panthers bench because he's angry about someone stealing his glove? I mean, it's just like, if you...
It is kind of funny.
Don't put in the newspaper that we're upset. Except for the time when our defenseman squirted his water bottle at the bench of the other team because they took his glove.
Oh man.
My God, the Oilers tonight, man. What a disaster.
What narratives will we be looking for from our next winner? Wish and the Commish. We found some footage, ladies and gentlemen, friends. Gary Bettman thought our guy Greg Wyshynski was doing a live hit for ESPN. And the best part is what is that? Like, your reaction was hilarious.
I was in shock. Now I have to say that I did tell this story on a podcast with Jeff Merrick, and I referred to what Bettman did to me as a bear hug. That might have been a little bit of hyperbole or just me misremembering the moment. As you can see, it's more of a shoulder grab, right? But yeah, the commissioner wanted to pop in and say hi to the good people of ESPN. You and me, Arda, we were doing the international show at that point, the pregame show. And listen, man, he's headed towards retirement. He's going to have a collective bargaining agreement that's sailing towards completion without a work stoppage. The man is happy. 4 nations, Stanley Cup playoffs, outdoor games. Things are good. So good that he's willing to give me a little shoulder squeeze and pop on a live broadcast.
And Jeff, if you're watching this, go ahead and take the clip and call it back on the sheet so that you can call Wish out for exaggerating the story, which we clearly now know was the case. But nevertheless, you would never do that. No, writers in hyperbole. Come on, no, that would never happen. Ever.
Loser for me is comedy. So let's get away from the Stanley Cup final for a second. At the NHL prospect combine recently, the Ottawa Senators asked a bunch of draft prospects to tell them a joke. That was one of the weird questions they were asking. Tell us a joke. Now, their head scout, Don Boyd, confirmed to TSN 1200 in Ottawa that the team did, in fact, ask draft prospects to tell them a joke. He said that they went 0 for 59 in prospects being able to tell them a joke. Then they got about 4 attempted jokes and a couple that made us laugh and a couple that weren't really jokes but made us laugh anyway. Of the 73 players that they interviewed at the combine. So again, these little draft prospects, not exactly comedians in their nascent form before they reach the NHL.
Yeah, I'm blaming hockey players in general for this. I'm sorry. Like, in what other sport, if you were to rank the athletes of all sports,
Mm-hmm.
in order of which athletes of a sport would be best in that situation, surprise, tell me a joke, hockey players would be ranked the worst. And
Tell me
that's
why.
unfortunate. Because it's just hockey culture. That's just the way that it is. Hockey players, athletes are not trained to be thinking of jokes. That's why. I would go to an NBA combine, an NFL combine, and I would be very confident that those prospective NFL and NBA players would have a joke ready. I would be much more confident in those environments than a prospective NHL player. And that's disappointing. It should not be the case.
Let me hit you with my theory.
Okay.
My theory is that of the 73 draft prospects they spoke to, around 65 of them all had a joke, but it was dirty. And because of hockey culture, they were concerned about telling a prospective boss, GM, coach, what have you, the dirtiest joke they know. What they don't realize is that if they did walk in there and be like, there once was a man from Nantucket, those guys probably draft this kid. they are looking for someone who wants to walk in and tell the prospective bosses the dirtiest joke that they know. That's my theory, at least on this.
I'm not saying that hockey players need to recite the aristocrats here, okay? I'm just saying that you should have, it shouldn't be that hard to think of a joke. And look, I get it. They're young kids, they're teenagers, they're, aspiring NHL players. I'm just saying other sport athletes would have had a joke prepared, and it would have landed too, I'm sure.
I'm just saying that if a guy walked into that room with the Senators and were like, husband and wife, their daughter and son and their dog, walk into a talent agent's office, I would give them an entry-level contract right there. I would forego the draft and be like, sir, you are a member of the Ottawa Senators.
Just, you know what? It's the Ottawa Senators. Make a Leafs 1967 joke and you're golden. That is the safest joke you can make. Anyway.
Yeah. Why do you have to cup your hands at a Toronto bar? Because they have no cups. Come on. Everybody knows the jokes.
Winner, TJ Oshie. Congratulations on a wonderful career, TJ Oshie. Happy trails in retirement. TJ announced his retirement today after 1,010 regular season games, won the Stanley Cup in 2018. Very famous, of course, for the Sochi Olympics in 2014. TJ Sochi went 4 for 6 in his shootout attempts to help defeat Team Russia 3-2. And good luck to your next chapter in your life, TJ. I will say that I had the pleasure of being in studio with him during the Stanley Cup playoffs. He spent a day with us in Studio W, and he did a terrific job. So maybe TV is in his future because he excelled in that analyst role in the one day that he did it with us.
And I could say I had the pleasure of being in Sochi when he became TJ Sochi and got on the Today Show and became an American hockey icon. That was a game I will never forget, being in Russia to watch him beat the Russians. Loser, Matthew Schaefer's swag. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the assumed number 1 overall pick in the NHL draft coming up later this month, who said he first met Connor McDavid when the Oilers star had his jersey retired with his Canadian junior team, the Erie Otters. Schaefer revealed on Monday, when talking to us in the media, that when he met McDavid, quote, I ran out of things to say and ended up looking at McDavid and going, I'm proud of you. Nobody would say that. I sounded like his dad. Can you imagine McDavid getting his jersey retired? And this child says, Connor, proud of you, man. It's fantastic.
And by the way, you know who Matthew Schaefer should have said that to? The Ottawa Senators.
Indeed.
There's your joke, man.
Know. There's your anecdote.
Exactly. There's your funny story / joke. Bonus loser. You could take this one.
Yeah, speaking of Canada, Arda. Bonus loser. Canada. Arda, an American team has won the Canadian Football League's Grey Cup more recently than a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. In 1993, Montreal won the Cup. In 1995, the Baltimore Stallions won the Grey Cup. Arda, care to comment on this disparity?
Why are you the way you are? Why do we have to bring this up? I can't believe. Like, first of all, I need to contact.
We're a stat-heavy show. We're trying to share knowledge.
First of all, I have to contact the ESPN Bet social media department and find out exactly who put up that ridiculous statistic for a team that hasn't existed for 20 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Dig the knife in further. Our chip flavors are better than American chip flavors.
It's just so weird. Think about that time when there was a bunch of American franchises in the CFL.
Yeah.
Like
that is.
Did they have state income tax advantages? Is that why they won the Grey Cup back then? I don't know. Who's to say?
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. That's going to do it for Winners and Losers, presented by Discover.